So we just finished making our history section, which was to replace the timeline. And looking down here, this is not really what I want there, but we'll deal with that later. While we're still in the practicing our layouts and how those work, we're going to first look at how we would change this to 4 across, and then we'll make it just a single thing. So up here we have 2 across in the large size that goes down to singles at this point. Okay, and our portfolio section is 3 across at the large screen, then goes to 2, then goes to singles, and this is 3, and this one stays 3 until it gets really small and goes to singles. So let's look at how to get 4 across in our layout. So down here, this is our amazing team, and let's find that in the code and make a 4th one. So here's our team, line 250 in mine. So again, we have our row. Here's the row starts and the row ends, I think down here. Hard to tell without highlighting the whole thing. Where'd it go? Not the image above team. Here we go. Okay, this is the end of the row. Here's the row here, and I can look vertically straight down and see the closing division. When your closing for a division is really far from the opening, and it's hard to tell, particularly when you have a series of division closings, it's sometimes good to go ahead and put a comment in there so that we remember what that ending division is. So if we're copying and pasting, we can be safe. So in that section, there's actually 2 rows. The next row is one that we'll talk about this in a bit, but there's just a single item that takes up 8 of the 12 grid. So it leaves 2 on either side, and it's centering it. Pretty sure that's what the MX auto is. So anyway, right now there's 3, so 3 times 4 gives us 12, but I'm going to add another person. Let's copy middle woman and put her at the end. So I want to make sure I get the whole thing here. So there's the last one. We're just going to add one more, and we're going to change these from 4s to 3s, because 4 times 3 is 12. So if I have 4 3s, that's going to fill out my 12. There we go. So that's how we would change that layout easily to a 4 across from the 3 across, and it's going to have the same rule that when it gets small enough, it'll shrink down to singles. Okay, now let's go the opposite way and make it into a single person. So let's start with a full 12 and find my last, or make sure I get the whole chunk here. So there's 1 person. You can see it's that whole column 3 opening and closing division before the next one. So I can delete that and delete the other 2 remaining ones and suck up the space here. So now I just have a single team member, and there he is. So he takes up the full space even when it's large. Okay, which is fine. So part of what we're not seeing here is why this one is 12 and this one's 8. So this row underneath is just 8 columns wide, but you look at the type. So here I'm hovered over the full 12 columns, but when I hover over this part, it's the 8. So you can see that we have 2 columns taken up on either side, which effectively limits how wide this thing is allowed to get, which is helpful. If if I wanted to put this paragraph of text inside of this guy's band, so if I had image, his title, his name, his title, and then I wanted the paragraph in the social media, let's look at what happens if we copy that paragraph into what we have now with the 12. So here's my paragraph. I'll copy it with the division. And we're going to put it before his social media, after his name. And let's see. I guess that'll work in there. I'm not really excited about embedding it inside of his team member thing, because here's our outer thing. We'll try it here first and see what happens. Okay. Oh, lost it. Where'd we go? So as I make that wider, that's actually staying pretty good. We must have something else on it that's controlling it. Let's see. Okay, paragraph, line height, margin, text center. I'm going to turn off my style so I can see, verify how wide that gets. I didn't think it would stay. Interesting, that's a little bit wider, but not a lot wider. Paragraph large. Maybe it's the large paragraph class. Text muted, paragraph, row, body. I'm not even seeing that paragraph large. Line height, margin top, margin bottom, margin block start, margin block end. It's funny that it has this class of large, but we're not seeing, there's nothing written for that class. Oh, it was in the, I copied the 8 over from here. That's why it's doing it. I didn't realize I'd done that. Okay. Let's take out that division then and just do it as another paragraph. So we can prove our point of what's going on here. There we go. That's what I intended to see. So this whole section that we made for him, his row, goes the full 12, and it's not limited the way the other one is. And the way to limit it is to put back in the thing that I took out. Okay. So by wrapping it in a division that has a limit, a layout limit on it of 8, and centering it and centering the text, then we can make it shrink down to the size that we want. So if we want to put that back on, there's the opening, and we need to make sure we close that division. So now it will tighten up the same way the one below was. Okay. Not exactly, but if we do a 6, we're going to see it get even narrower. There, so you see that narrower width. So that's 6 with centered. If we get rid of the MX auto, it'll just go, I believe, to the left. Yeah, so it's only taking 6 of the 12, so it's half, but it's not centered, which is kind of annoying. And if we got rid of the text center, of course, then the text would no longer be centered. Oh, it's still centered because it's a paragraph inside of a centered row? I don't know. Yeah, I guess all of our text is centered somewhere. Let's make sure we know why it's still centered. Team member has text align center for all of its, for the whole thing. So if we wanted it to not be centered, we could do it that way. Okay, so hopefully that helps you understand what those things are and how to control the layout with those items. Okay, so having done that, I'm going to get rid of the one that's under it. I was a little bit uncomfortable with the way that this was nested in there. Maybe I'll unnest that. So I'd rather have the team member and then the other two things together, maybe the social media. So if I take this part out and put it after the team member, okay, and I'm going to get rid of this second row from its opening row to its closing here. Show you what we have. Okay, but I want this stuff under here still. So I'm going to take those social media icons out of here. Close up that team member division and put our social icons in there. There we go. That's more what I want. So the isolated image with title and then the paragraph, and it's never going to be wider than half the width of the layout because it's short. I don't want it to be super long. Okay, hopefully that makes sense what we did there.